In the name of Allah, most gracious, most merciful, peace be upon you. I'm writing about the prophecy from the Book of Enoch, chapter 90, and this is a Muslim perspective. I will try to summarize the chapter 90 by taking out key paragraphs and explaining their meaning. And after that I saw in my vision all the birds of heaven coming, the eagles, the vultures, the kites, the ravens. But the eagles led all the birds, and they began to devour those sheep, and to pick out their eyes, and to devour their flesh. Now sheep are, in the Book of Enoch, sheep are used to talk about believers, and the vultures, kites, ravens, etc. These are birds that are coming from the sky and they are killing the believers. So as I've written on the screen, it suggests death coming from the sky against the believers. Now think about it. Who sends death from the sky? It is no other except US and its allies, including Israel. So they can't really take the holy ground. This Book of Enoch prophesies against them, and they regularly boast of the death, destruction, and shock and awe that they cause from the air. Further confirmation of the death and destruction US and its allies cause. Here's another paragraph further down. And I saw until those sheep were devoured by the dogs and eagles and kites, and they left neither flesh nor skin nor sinew remaining on them, till only their bones stood there, and their bones too fell to the earth, and the sheep became few. So here I have an image of a child that has been killed during United States air raids in Iraq, and they have killed and burnt many other people and children in the Middle East and areas of Afghanistan and Pakistan and Vietnam and Japan and China. But it's when God talks about the sheep and the lambs, he's talking about his believers in the Middle East mainly, but I'm sure he's concerned with all his believers and innocent people that die. And there we've got some US or Allied soldiers, which are the dogs in their tanks. And as I clarified earlier, the eagles and the kites are the fighter jets that bring death and destruction to the people. It also states, but behold, lambs were born by those white sheep, and they began to open their eyes and see, and to cry to the sheep. Yea, they cried to them, but they did not hearken to what they said to them, but were exceedingly deaf, and their eyes were very exceedingly blinded. So, example of such sheep are Erdogan from Turkey, who is listening and obeying people like Obama and Cameron, the evildoers that send the eagles and the dogs to attack the innocent people in the Middle East and other parts of the world. It also shows how believing Muslim leaders try to rise against the US and its allies. Both Saddam Hussein and Gaddafi tried to oppose the US dollar by implementing gold that does not cause poverty and starvation in other parts of the world. But US and its allies prevent these leaders from making headway by attacking and destroying their countries and killing the people and killing the leaders. However, the Imam Mahdi, who I believe is Bashar al-Assad, has arisen, and God willing, believers will recognize him. The verse in Book of Enoch that represents this is, "And I saw till horns grew upon those lambs, and the ravens cast down their horns, and I saw till there sprouted a great horn of one of those sheep, and their eyes were opened." So gradually, God willing, the eyes of people will be opened to Bashar al-Assad, and the people will start supporting him like I do. Then the verse continues, "And I saw till a great sword was given to the sheep, and the sheep proceeded against all the beasts of the field to slay them, and all the beasts and the birds of the heaven fled before their face." So this is quite optimistic for the believers, that a power will be given to them, and they will be able to oppose US and its allies, and the US and its allies will be afraid, including their planes, to approach the Middle East and do further harm. Allah will annihilate the US and its allies and destroy their planes and other weapons that they use for mass destruction. And the following verse represents this. "And I saw till the Lord of the sheep came unto them, and took in his hand the staff of his wrath, and smote the earth, and the earth clave asunder, and all the beasts and all the birds of the heaven fell from among those sheep, and were swallowed up in the earth, and it covered them." So their fighter jets, God willing, will fall from the sky and will be swallowed up by the earth, God willing. And Allah will then punish the sinners. "And I saw at the time how a like abyss was opened in the midst of the earth, full of fire, and they brought those blinded sheep, and they were all judged and found guilty, and cast into his fiery abyss, and they burned. Now this abyss was to the right of that house." So there you go, my prophetic interpretation of the Book of Enoch. Again, if you Europeans and Americans and Australians and the Israelis wish to alter the curse of God, they need to beg for forgiveness and guidance, arrest and put on trial bankers, politicians, lawmakers, corporate elite and royalty, stop charging interest and destroy interest, since it is cursed by God for good reason, write off third world debt, stop wars and oppression of other people, stop killing other people. They need to stop killing their own people in false flags and hoaxes, and stop blaming Muslims for doing this, even though they have their own agenda of imprisoning their own people. They need to give power and generous portions of land to the Native Americans and Aborigines and allow them to live self-sufficient lifestyles in harmony with nature. They shouldn't force Native Americans to earn a living on gambling. They shouldn't tamper or restrict food or natural medicines. And they need to stop killing babies in the womb and otherwise, and feeding them to people or eating them themselves. So if you want to stand for truth and justice, these are the issues that you need to stand for, not be a hypocrite. And you know very well that 9/11 was not perpetrated by the Muslims, it was the American government, and you need to stand for truth and deal with the people in power. So I pray that God guides you, protects you, and gives you peace. God bless.